So we've imported our assets into our project, and what we're going to do now is we're going to add a vehicle to our scene to really get onto the road, since we're going to make a driving simulator. So make sure you guys watch as I do this before you get started doing it yourself. So what I'm going to do is, here in the main section of our project window, I'm going to double click on vehicles, and that'll open up that folder, and then it'll show us these different vehicles that we can use in our scene. I like this red truck over here because it's pretty cool, and it looks kind of, realistic looking, I guess. So I'm going to left click on it, and then I'm going to add that vehicle to our hierarchy here. I'm going to drag it to our hierarchy on the left side of Unity. So when I let go, you can see that our vehicle now has been added to this large area called the scene view. And so this is all of our assets, and this is the assets folder, and this is what we're going to populate our scene with different objects like trucks, obstacles, or whatever you want to add. So if we want to add some cool environmental props, maybe some boxes or some trees, and we had them in our course folder, then we could have easily just dragged them to the hierarchy, and then it would pop up in the scene view. We can also add mountains and whatever you want to add. So that'll be stored in the assets folder, and then we can just drag them into our hierarchy to add them to our scene. Now the hierarchy actually keeps track of everything that is happening in the scene, of the different objects that are currently there. So we have our camera, and you guys can see that it is in the hierarchy as well. We have our light, and it is in the hierarchy as well. And then we have, of course, our vehicle that we just added, and is also in the hierarchy. Now to really see our vehicle and experience the scene view that allows us to visualize everything that's happening in our game, what you're going to do is hover over your scene view with your mouse, and if you hold the right mouse button and right click, and then you can actually move using W, A, S, and D keys on your keyboard. So if I press W, I can zoom in. If I press S, I can actually fly backwards. And if I press A, I fly to the left. And if I press D, I fly to the right. So you can use these and get used to them, the WASD keys. Now, if you guys are like a gamer or something, you guys will be familiar with these keys. And you guys should just like get used to flying around and see around your scene view. It's a very helpful, it's like a very useful, these are the most useful keys that we can use for our Unity scene view to get around into our scene view. Now, the only problem here is I've gotten myself lost, and I don't know what to do. I can see these nice mountains, but we need to get back to our vehicle. And in order to do that, in the hierarchy, just select your vehicle, and it's highlighted in blue. And if you want to make sure on the right side, the inspector is popped up here. This actually shows us everything related to the truck or to the vehicle that you guys have added. So the object is selected, which is our truck, and with my mouse, I'm going to hover over our scene view and press F on our keyboard. And this actually focuses the frame back in on our object that we have selected in our hierarchy. So that's actually very helpful, and it's a quick way to get back into focus if you guys are lost. Now, another thing that we can do, if we just want a 360 view of the vehicle that we have focused on, we can just hold down the Alt key on our keyboard, and then with our mouse we can just drag to the left or to the right, and then it'll just rotate around the vehicle in our scene view, which in this case is our vehicle, of course, because we use our F key to focus on it, and then we can, of course, rotate 360 degrees by holding our Alt key and then dragging left to the right, or from left to right. So if we press the Alt key down, hold it again, you can do it again, and we can actually use the right mouse button, and then we can drag that, and then that can actually that can help us zoom in or out of the focused vehicle. So using all of these different keys, we can navigate around our scene, focus on different objects, and take a look at them in depth. Now, a really helpful keyboard shortcut to know is that the undo action. Now, most of you would probably know this, but I'm just going to mention it anyway. So, for example, with my vehicle selected, if I just move it somewhere accidentally, like for example here, when I was just to put it back to where it was, I can press Ctrl or Command Z, depending on what you're using. If you guys are using a Mac or some other computer, Control or Command Z, and that will undo my most recent action. And this is super helpful to know, just in case if you ever accidentally move something, or it's out of place and you want to put it back there, you can just use Control or Command Z by adjusting it back to where it was in the beginning. And that's actually a very helpful tip that you guys can use. So one thing to note is that undo will only undo your most recent actions done. So in order to get back to the vehicle here, as you guys can see, I changed my vehicle position 3 times. And what we're going to do is I have to use Control or Command Z to put it back, and I'm going to press it 1, 2, 3 times, and then it'll set it back to where it was. So just get used to this shortcut Control Z or Command Z on your keyboard. It will be on the bottom left usually, so in that way, in case you ever accidentally move something, or you just don't like it the way it's positioned, you can just reset it back to what it was before. Alright, this was just a short tutorial on how you guys can add whatever vehicle that is in this prototype 1. You guys can add a train, a truck, or a bus, or a car, or a van, anything you guys like. The vehicles are up to you, but I personally added a truck. So if you guys like this video, I appreciate it. Make sure you guys subscribe, turn on those post notifications, and smash that like button as well for more Unity tutorials. I will be updating daily, so also turn on those post notifications to get notified whenever I post a video, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial number 4.